Well, hey everybody. Welcome. Happy Friday. Almost Happy New Year. It is December 30th, 2022. Today, apparently, we're calling this the State of the Legendarium, thanks to Bradster. Yeah, that seems about right. And I feel like I'm coming in a little hot, so I'm going to turn this down just a bit. Um, anyway, yeah, we're talking about what happened in 2022, and we'll talk about what's going to happen in 2023. Should be a fun time. In case you can't hear it, I'm a little nasally today. I'm feeling a little under the weather, so not like I was a couple months ago. But yeah, we'll try to make it through. Should be fine. Should be fine. Okay, how are we looking? The color's good. It's got kind of like a blue and pink. Yeah, it seems all right. Seems all right for today. Okay, so welcome everybody. Let's see, Josh, Taylor, Lady Sweden, Panda. You make an experience. Bonjour, Linnea. No, Panda makes an appearance. I didn't write this one down, but I was kind of looking through what we did this year, episode wise, and I one of my highlights as I was going through, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. It was the Wheel of Tangents episode that we did with Panda. That was a lot of fun. So and Red's here. Hi, Red. Okay, so let's do a little state of the Legendarium. Um, Okay, yeah. Now let's see. Share my screen. There we go. Let's just do this one. There we go. All right. Yeah, that's it. 2022 by the numbers. We'll talk about a few things in this one. Okay, so let's start with the first things first. 47 podcast episodes, and I did not go and look. In fact, you know what? I'll go look right now. How many YouTube videos did I create? I not many, honestly. It was pretty sad. I had these grand plans about how many YouTube videos I was going to make this year, and it just didn't work out that way. So, but let's see how many we actually did do. Gosh, that was this year. I did a happy birthday, Professor Tolkien. We did do a Patreon, a few Patreon exclusives as we went. Those are on there. You can watch them if you're on Patreon. We did some like filler episodes in between the Silmarillion episodes we did. Anyway, okay, did a Rings of Power explainer. Let's see. Oh, come on. Okay, so I did a Rings of Power explainer. Going back, I'm sure you guys are saying things, but I'm not looking at that screen right now. Okay. We did. Oh, that's right. I did a Rings of Power trailer discussion. How to use our Discord server, which was, let's be honest, only mildly helpful due to, foolish, fake news or what we call misinformation, just stuff I got wrong. Okay. No, I didn't do very many. Gosh, we published a ton of videos, but they were mostly the episodes that we did, weren't they? Yeah, good looking books. Did Latin Ruin English. That's number 6. My top 10 favorite books on my shelf. That's number 7. I did do a short. I'm going to count it. That's 8. The Lord of the Rings appendices breakdown. That's 9. Gosh, that's probably close to it. Oh, and then the Silmarillion edition that came out, or the 2 Silmarillion editions. So call it 10. 10 YouTube videos that I did. So let's see. Yeah, the Discord tour video. It was bad. It's I should probably just redo it, but I'm not sure how valuable it is in the first place. But maybe I should redo it with a little extra planning and help from, folks like Panda. So anyway, okay, so yeah, 47 podcast episodes. Not bad, actually, considering, this is supposed to be a weekly show. That averages out to one a week with some like vacations built in, which like this week, I didn't publish an episode that I think was actually on the calendar. I think we were supposed to do the next Joe Abercrombie, if I'm not mistaken, but everybody's on vacation. I'm on vacation, so I was just like, you know what? Sorry, everybody. Okay, so that's 47 podcast episodes. We read 18 books this year. You can see them all listed here. Let's see, what are some of my highlights? If I were highlighting my own, Heroes Die was such a fun episode. That's the one we did with Scott Lynch. The Silmarillion, of course. I think we did 11 episodes on the Silmarillion. Excuse me. Plus I think we did, I don't know, maybe 3 um, extra episodes that you can get on Patreon. Stardust was awesome because that was when we all met up in Portland, which I have not put on the on this list. But the Portland meetup was a thing that happened. Absolutely. So yeah, Stardust would go on there. The Lost Metal, honestly, I don't love the book. It's good. Don't but compared to other Sanderson books, I don't love it as much as some of his other stuff. But it's a highlight for me because it's a Sanderson book with my name in it, baby. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that was sorry. Yeah, I've been pretty awful the last couple weeks just at getting anything done. Anyway, the ones on the right, we'll talk more about those. Those are all the author shelf, but this one surprised me actually. I'm sure we talked about other things a little bit, but we only actually dug into 4 different movies and shows, which is shocking to me. Like we didn't. Well, I know we talked about some things, maybe like on Wheel of Tangent episodes or whatever. We brought up House of the Dragon or whatever, but there were only 4 episodes that were actually that actually had these kind of in the title or in the description. The ones that we really dug into. Um, okay. Can't wait for the meetup in 2023. I think we might do a 2024 meetup. But that's let's wait on that. Bring this back up. Bring it up again when I get to the end. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I don't know exactly what to call these, but topical episodes, and I've really enjoyed these for the most part. I think there were a couple that I was like I wasn't sure that I was interviewing all that well. Um, like for whatever reason. Um, but there are definitely some standouts. This one, RPGs, how RPGs influence fantasy. But I think the question was, have RPGs influenced fantasy more than Tolkien at this point? So kind of getting into like Dungeons and Dragons, has Dungeons and Dragons had more of an effect on fantasy now? That was the question. It was a really interesting discussion. And yeah, you should definitely go check that one out if you haven't. Let's see, what were some of my other ones? Determinism with James Kennedy was fascinating. So was the Summit Basu one. He's the Indian author that we had on. And it's one of those episodes. The whole thing, like the whole concept that I wanted to get into with him, and that we only talked about a little bit, but that I think is so fascinating, is the idea that what is dystopian fiction for one person is just life for another person. So you write about something really, if it's foreign enough to your reader, and bleak enough, or whatever, then it can come across as dystopic. And he's like, well, um not necessarily, or either that, or a lot of people live in dystopias, whatever. My brain is fried, you guys. It's the end of the year. Okay, let's see, what were my other ones. Let's see. Oh, I loved the Freya Marsk episode on romance. I think that one was really, really fun. The Silmarillion Summer, this is one of those ones that I wish I could have back. She was lovely. Caitlin, her name is, from Tea with Tolkien. She was lovely. It was fun to chat with her, but I wish I had been a little more prepared with a structure for that episode. But oh well. All right, so 9 topical episodes, and I'm curious actually, if you guys wouldn't mind in the chat, let me know if you liked these, because there could be quite a bit more coming. Not I don't know what the number would end up being in 2023, but I've really liked doing these. Little Red Book is really good at booking the guests, um, and so it's out there. It's a possibility, a strong possibility that we do a lot more of these. So let me know if you like them. I do. Let's see. Lady S, you really like the one with Freya. Forward to hear about the romance plans for 2023. I was just talking to Sarah, my wife Sarah, last night, um, and she was mentioning one of our mutual friends reading. No, how did we bring it up? Basically, I was like, you know what we should do is see how saucy we can go and read like a Sarah J. Maas book or something like that. We do it on the show. That could be fun. Let's see. We crave romance. Regency romance books. I'm sure Chesky would love it. Oh, that's funny. Um, yeah, this is kind of how I feel about it. Nice to have some episodes like these that don't require reading a specific book. Yeah, I totally agree. We get downloaded enough that I can't complain about our reach as a podcast. But I know that we over the years have kind of shot ourselves in the foot just by choosing the format that we did with so many books. And so you'd have people who would join in for like, oh, they're doing the Wheel of Time for a whole year. And then as soon as we're done with the Wheel of Time, they're like, yeah, I'm out. Um, because I haven't read the next thing. Right. And so that happens all the time. And I do regret it a little bit. So it is nice to have these uh, kind of, yeah, topical evergreen episodes. At least, yeah, I think are these all? Yeah, they're pretty evergreen. So more Chuck Tingle. Don't read Moss. Much better romantasy around. uh, yes to a Moss episode. It would be yeah. It'd be fun, especially if I had Sarah on, so that I could make her blush with all the saucy innuendos and whatnot. Um, okay, cool. So yeah, those topical episodes were a lot of fun. The author shelf episodes, 8 of them. It felt like more. Somebody tell me if I'm forgetting something because it felt like so much more than this, but maybe it was just 8. Just 8. Like 8 8 author shelf episodes through the course of a year, I think is pretty good. And 3 of them were like bang 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 right one after the other, and I think that was in like September maybe. Um, Little Red Book ended up booking a whole. Hey, Little Red Book booked a whole bunch of books for me to read. Gosh, what a sentence that was. And so over the course of a month, I had to read like 3 books for author shelf and something for whatever we were doing at the time, and it was exhausting. But anyway, I'm glad we did them. Let's see. My standouts on here: Heroes Die. That's probably the most fun book that I read this year. Um, the Black Count with Brian McClellan was so interesting. Just because it was so out of left field, kind of for us. Um, so was the Good House. Um, that's kind of like a modern gothic horror book, and it was yeah definitely out of our normal go-to type of book. But that was a big one. The Dispossessed was really interesting because I liked so much about the book, just not actually the reading of it. It was not as pleasurable to me, with some exceptions. There's some amazing prose in there, but the Dispossessed gave us one of the best discussions of the year, I think. And Mary Robinette Kowal now is I'd call her a friend of the show. We saw her a little while later at the Sanderson convention, and she's just lovely. She's a lovely person. Let's see. That's a Moss episode could bring in a different kind of audience. That's true. That's true. Let's see. Oh, I'll tell you which one really caught my attention this year was this Dreamcatcher. Ryan Van Loan picked that. It's a Stephen King book, pretty widely pretty widely acknowledged as not a very good Stephen King book. But it was the first King I've ever read. Um, and I thought it was fun. Yeah, it really got bogged down in the second act and meandered a lot, but I had a lot of fun with that one. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I assume uh, I I have to assume that people like author shelf episodes, but I don't know. Maybe you guys don't. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy these. Do you skip them if you haven't read the book? I will say that I'm with some of these, like with Heroes Die, with I think Rebecca and Dreamcatcher. Like there were some where yeah, we kind of spoiled the ending, right? We had to talk about it, but some of them, like Fifth Head of Cerberus, fabulous discussion, and we didn't have to spoil it. I wonder if I can get away with that more in the future, having more spoiler-free discussions with authors, um, so that people can listen in and hear these other authors talk about these books without having read them yet, or maybe we just be more disciplined about um, sectioning off the episodes so that the first part is spoiler free and then we go into spoilers at the end. I don't know, something like that. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, I think this is the last one. The stats for this year: 9% fewer downloads than 2021, and that's fine. You know, things go up and down. I think 2021 and 2020 were both a bit nuts, just in terms of like COVID and people being at home and they're bored and whatever. I maybe that had something to do with it. On the other hand, no, I know what it was. 2020 uh downloads dipped because everybody was at home and nobody was commuting. And then in 2021, people had to commute again, and so it shot back up. And I think 2022 kind of settled down a little bit. I think that's how that worked. Um, Okay, so let's go back to this because somebody said I like them, but skip some where I haven't read the book. Spoiler-free section's always a plus. Okay, cool. Um, but if the author is interesting enough, I listen without reading. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I like the way your graph stays above zero every month. Yeah, it does. There, there are no months with zero downloads. You can see December's a little lower. Probably, I mean, we do have. This isn't counting today and tomorrow. And like I said, I skipped an episode this month, so it makes sense that it would be a little lower. I wonder. Yeah, I wonder what I was doing back in the summer that they dipped. But oh well. Oh man, yeah, yeah, me too. I like I said, oops. Oh well. Yeah, I really liked reading the Black Count. That was just so off the wall and such a fun time. Let's see. Oh yeah, you can see the top 5 countries there. This one surprised me, Germany. It's like 1.4% or something like that. Um, and I think right after that, in fact, I could look it up, but I think right after Germany, it's Norway. I don't even know where Sweden comes in anymore. Let's find out, eh? Let's see. Oh yeah, Sweden is number 7, with just over 1% of our downloads. So yeah, and then everything under that is less than 1%. You get down into you know some countries with what 20 downloads, 30 downloads, and you're like, oh, maybe somebody found us, or maybe there's some bot or something. You never know for sure. Oh, you know what? I wonder, can I still look up states? I wonder if I can look up. Yeah. Okay, you guys want to know top 5 states? Top 5 states, well, I guess, yeah, it really just comes down to which states have the most people because it went California, Texas, New York, Washington State, and Pennsylvania. So I guess Washington State would probably be the smallest one on there. But anyway, sorry, Oregon. I know how you like to represent. Okay. Oh, I was going to send a super chat. Don't see the button for one. Hey, Merry Christmas to the Fantasy Files. I appreciate the kind words. And I was on an episode of the Fantasy Files, so people should go check that out. But yeah, the super chat. I don't know. I thought I had it turned on, but maybe I don't have it activated at the moment. I'll have to take a look. Okay. Let's see. Let's hear what are we hearing? Maybe I don't know what I was saying. Unusual books are fun. How close is Utah? Okay, well, not very. Let's see. So let's see. Pennsylvania is the fifth most, and Utah has half that amount. So if we actually go down, oh yeah, it's like number 15, maybe something like that. So, I've been thinking about that. When we first started the show, I thought hard about doing billboards because I was like, hey, if we can get some local buzz, back in 2014, 2015, I thought about it and I ended up not doing it. Um, Oregon has failed me. That's true. That is absolutely accurate. Okay. So I think we're good here. All right. So now let's talk about what you guys want going forward in 2023. And while you are making your wishes known, I will tell you kind of what I'm thinking for meetup. Nothing's been decided, and this is this is not an announcement. This is a spitballing session. So if you're here live, then let me know what you think in the chat. If you're watching this later, then pop into the not the description, the comments, and let me know what you think. But my idea is this. Let's see, February 23rd happens to be my wife's birthday, but is also the birthday of the podcast. 2014, we published our first episode on February 23rd. We'd been recording for a few months before that. So anyway, this year, or sorry, 2023 will make 9 years of the podcast, and 2024 will make 10. So I'm kind of thinking that we do a 10-year anniversary meetup in February 2024. So yeah, it is a little further away. This would be interesting. Probably. So yeah, doing a meetup around the 10th anniversary. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I think we could do it here in Utah, and yeah, and we could probably. I think we could have a really, really good time. Do we want to do it in Utah though? Because it's February. It's probably a better location in February. But oh well, Sanderson does his thing here in November, and that's about as disgusting as February in Utah. So anyway, would be cool to see how many minutes of content you created. You know what? I'll tell you what. I will figure that out. Let's see. Can I figure it out? Um, okay, there we go. I wonder if I could. Yeah, I think I could figure this out. Oh yeah, that's right. Linnea was here, and it was cold. It's only gotten colder. It was positively balmy compared to December here. December has been a nightmare, but I guess not compared to anybody east of the Mississippi, I suppose. Okay, Let's see how long it would take me to do this. This is going to take a little while. Yeah, I'll have to figure this out later. Hey, if somebody else wants to pop in and pop into, their podcatcher, whatever we call them, and start adding up, that would be great. Let's see. I'm in favor of a 10th anniversary celebration meetup. Well, that's good. I thought you might be, Panda. Maybe we go down. Do we? No, California's too expensive. It's just too expensive to go hang out in. But we'll figure something out. Anyway, like I said, it's more of a spitball than an announcement. I think it would be really fun. We'll see if we can get planning that. So let's see. It's too far away. It'd be cool to do it at the Legendarium studio, or Oregon was great. More overall communication before and between events. Yeah, that's fair. We tried to organize stuff, but ultimately it was I didn't want to worry too much about having a really rigid schedule, mostly because it was hey, we're all just gonna go hang out. Okay, yes, I will get to that. What was I gonna say though? What was I gonna maybe saying something before that? Somebody remind me what I was talking about. Favorite book of the year that I've read. Let's pull them up again. Okay. There it is. Favorite book of the year. I'm going to hide that for just a sec so we can see these down here. Fifth Head of Cerberus. Okay. Bladed Self Stardust. No, okay, no rereads. No rereads. Heroes Die. Probably Heroes Die. It's just such a fun book. And it's not just fun, it's also poignant in places, and it's action packed, and it's twisty and turny and all that stuff. It's just really interesting. Okay. Oh wow. But I also, can I tell you, I loved Rebecca. I thought it took a while to grab me, to get my attention, but once it did, I enjoyed that book a lot. So that was fabulous. Other than that, I think everything else is well, not everything else, but there's some rereads in there that I love. So, fun fact, I never actually read Cytonic. I let the other guys do the review of that. Sanderson lost me on the Skyward series, unfortunately. Just didn't. There's nothing wrong with it. It just didn't really grab my attention. Holy smokes! 23,000 minutes. No, there's no way. There's no. Oh no, that's all time. Okay, I was thinking of just 2022. Is that the average length? 57 minutes? Does your podcatcher tell you that? That's really interesting. Thing is, if I could count up the time, the podcast episodes in 2022, but then I'd also want to throw in the YouTube content and whatnot. So, and then got to go into. We don't do a lot of Patreon extras, but we do a little bit, so we'd have to count those too. Okay. So anyway, where were we? Kansas or Missouri? Why Kansas or Missouri? Not that there's anything wrong with them, but you're not from Kansas or Missouri, as far as I know. At least you don't live there now. So, okay, cool. Should we get rid of that? Start. I'm forgetting something. I know I started a topic and completely forgot what it was I was talking about. Huh. Oh, somebody asked about, I read anything particularly good outside the podcast? Ooh, good question. Let me pop in and see if I did make Ryan do a live reading of a Chuck Tingle book in Portland when we were there. So that was good. Let's see. So no, not there. Oh boy. Read a pretty good book by John McWhorter. He's a really interesting linguist. That's right. Earlier this year, I started the 3-body problem, but I never finished it. I started it when I was doing a project just outside the studio here. I was doing a landscaping project, and so I started that one. But then when I finished the project, I forgot to go back and finish it. But I will. I'll tell you what book I tried this year, and and that was Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Kind of is it a memoir? It's like a memoir / advice book, whatever. And I was like, hey, I like watching Matthew McConaughey, and I love listening to his voice. So sure, I'll listen to him read his audiobook. And I couldn't even get through the introduction. It was so pretentious, which I normally don't mind. A little pretension never hurt anybody. I have my share of pretension about certain things, but it was rough. I couldn't really. It's insane. Maybe I haven't gotten through it. I'm sure he tells some interesting stories and whatnot, but just the way he was trying to write in the intro, I assume it's him writing, but he may have had a ghostwriter. Yeah, he probably had a ghostwriter. But it was so it was bad. The writing was bad enough that I couldn't continue. So Chuck Tingle for the podcast with Ryan and Sarah. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, that's good for everybody to know. Maybe something for the West Coast folks. So yeah, maybe not something official, but still, if people want to go out for something, if you want to, then we should probably just make a channel, like a meetup channel on Discord. Although I don't know if that's like against their terms of service. Sometimes like some sites get really weird about meetup stuff, like IRL stuff. But I don't imagine Discord would be in that boat. So anyway, I am curious to hear more about why Green Lights is insane. So you should pop onto Discord and write a little bit about it, or put a comment on this video after we're done. All right, you guys, my sinuses are adequately plugged up, so I'd better call it for now. But let's see, 2023. Yep, we're gonna finish the Joe Abercrombie trilogy, the First Law trilogy. Yes, we are. It's going to happen. And as I look over at the shelf, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I know is coming up. We've thought about doing Brian McClellan's books, but they've kind of dropped on the TBR list. Not for any special reason or anything, but yeah, we'll see. I know we're going to be doing at least 4 Sanderson books, right? So there you go. All right. Thanks. Post a Patreon. All right. I've still got another day, and I'll probably take it. But thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for hanging out for a little bit. And I hope your 2022 was at least as okay as possible. It was the year that never ended. I hope that 2023 is a lot better. So anyway, cheers. Thanks for listening, you guys. And I know many of you are patrons, and I really appreciate that from you. So thanks for hanging out, and thanks for supporting the show. And I'll see you guys.